Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and, most importantly, provide some actual insight into what a lot of this information means so you guys can apply it, utilize it, and see a difference in your business and life. Because not only am I a fan of keeping people in business, it's one of the many reasons why I proudly fly this American flag behind me, is because A, we're the greatest country on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you guys live your American dream as well. Obviously today, November 11th, it is Veterans Day. This is, like, to me, what just as important as the 4th of July. We have to celebrate our veterans, our military, everyone who's paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country, and all of that. And we got some people on here today, and we're gonna rock all that out. And before we get our over-the-top pro-America, pro-freedom, everything part of this show, got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. Sorry, guys, I could see the guests who are going to be on today, and one of them's just they're both just ready to rock. Anyways, got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. It doesn't matter if you're a broker, carrier, or shipper alike. We all need access to trailers, and then especially right now, with costs rising, rates dropping, this is an opportunity for carriers to make some additional money right now, especially if they have a trailer in the shop. They should never have to shut their operation down. And with that being said, you get paid to do this stuff, you guys. So what were they working on? We have Paragould, Arkansas, going up to Delta, British Columbia. You get paid $18.50 US to move that load. San Diego, California, going out to Selma, Texas, $1,500 US to do that. And that's on top of the revenue, you guys, that you can get by throwing freight in the back of that trailer. They also have San Diego going to Millbury, Ohio for $600. And they also have Milton, Ontario, going into Montreal, Quebec for my friends up in Canada. And you can get 250 Canadian for that one. I don't know the breakdown for that because I went to public school, but hit them up, you guys, vhubapp.com. Stacey Seen, Xavier Campos, they'll be in the audience. And I'm getting some stuff queued up here. Get some Nicholas Leendo. What's going on? Let's go. Brian Hagen, let's go. Good. Thanks for joining me. Pat Green, happy Friday. Abos, what's up? Good morning. He's from ITF out in St. Louis. Kenneth Boone, what's up? Good morning. All right. Going to bring my first guest on here, Mr. Kyle Provost. He is my business partner over at Broker Carrier, and I'm trying to get some stuff queued up here for the other guests because he's just got it locked in. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, brother. It's another beautiful Friday morning. Happy to be on your show with you,
dude. It is a phenomenal day today. And so what's good out in how did you deal with the snow up there? Didn't I-80 get shut down?
Up over Donner Pass it did, going up over the Sierras toward like Sacramento. But down here in the valley, it was no big deal, man. The snow in the driveway, didn't even need to shovel it. Melted in like 2 hours. Piece of cake.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. All right. I'm going to bring my other guest on. He's also the strongest man in freight, but for what he's wearing, I got to get some intro music for him here. There he is. Mr. Robert Band. I got to keep it at that level so I don't do.
It's because I was inverted.
Oh, my man. Thanks for joining me here today.
What is going on, gentlemen?
Dude, I'm ready. It's my, one of my favorite days of the year because we get to give back and give thanks to everybody who make this all possible. Like, let's call it what it is. Without our veterans, without our active duty military, without the men and women who have given the ultimate sacrifice, none of this is possible. Without that, none of this is possible to me.
100%. I think it's important to remember because, we have 2 big days, right? You got Memorial Day and you got Veterans Day. Memorial Day is for those who didn't make it home, which is very important. Very important to remember that. Veterans Day is important because those people did make it home, but they also carry with them those we remember on Memorial Day. So it's important when you see people who are veterans, you talk to them, be respectful, one, but then two, just understand that these are people that carry a big weight with them. And it's important to be appreciative of that, whether you agree with some of the things that they may do or not. It's important to remember that these people do carry a lot with them. And so they've done incredible things. And you're right. They do things we don't want to hear about so we can live the way we live.
Yeah, very true. So
Very
Kyle,
well
you went
said,
out. Yeah, you were Navy, right?
I was in the Navy from 2001 to 2007. Yeah.
Yeah. You were, because you were in boot camp, like literally on 9/11, right?
Yes, I was. 9/11 was my 28th day of boot camp.
Jesus.
And, recruits, don't know anything. They keep you in the dark for a reason. So we actually didn't think it was real. We thought it was some kind of drill, some kind of war game thing, that because we were moving along to the 4th week of boot camp, but we found out it was real. And then our ship's officer, who's like the boss of the drill instructors, came into our compartment and said, all you idiots that are just doing this for the college money, you're going to earn it now.
Yeah. You go learn today. You go learn today.
Yeah. And everything changed.
Yep.
The entire 6 years I was in the Navy, it was all about global war on terror. There was nothing else at the top strategic levels, and the world has never been the same since, and it probably never will be,
Absolutely not.
What, like when you say that from your perspective, because, you obviously literally being there when it happened in boot camp and everything, when you say the world will never be the same from that perspective, like where's that coming from?
So if we remember before 9/11, the world wasn't so security minded, right? You could walk all the way to the gate to greet your family when they got off an airplane. The highways were much more open. There weren't so many verification steps involved with simple financial transactions like now. So the whole world just has a security first, zero trust posture now, which I don't feel is super necessary anymore, but times have changed. And once that train starts rolling, you can't stop it. It's a tough environment. How do you explain this to kids, that life used to not be like this? People weren't nervous and scared all the time. People weren't putting security first all the time. I have no idea how I would explain that to a child, or how the world used to be. I don't envy someone who's born now and has to grow up in this world and never get to know kind of the more innocent version of it that we did when we were young.
And that's so true, because like I have an 11-year-old, and I know, Robert, you have kids. I know, like when we were growing up, because like we're all pretty much the same age. I mean, it was, dude, you wouldn't even think twice about leaving your house unlocked. You wouldn't think twice about doing a lot of the stuff that you do now, like, and to me, it's just like, that's just like what's the craziest part about what that event did. And it's almost like when you talk to the younger generation, and again, I'm not going to blame the younger generation for anything. I think it's a complete and utter failure on our generation and the generation before us by not bringing this information to to the level of importance that it was for us when all of that stuff went down. You know what I mean? It's like, I think like it has to be on us. Like the political correctness and all that, fuck that stuff. Like we have to keep it real with people, because there are, as the people who have served know, there is very real evil in this world. There is very real consequences, and there are very real people who despise us in this world. And we can't sugarcoat stuff,
Yeah, I think it's important, Chris. It's important, Chris, to, for the generations that came after that day. I mean, it's one of those for everybody who's watching this that's, over a certain age. You remember where you were. You remember what classroom you were sitting in, or where you were at, at the moment you heard about it. I remember my mom calling me. I'm in my dorm, I'm hungover, and she's like, "Oh, America's under attack," and Carol likes to exaggerate and kind of panic. And I said, "Sure, no problem," and I hung up on my mom because I'm a jerk. Then I turn on the TV, and my roommate walks in and is like, "Dude, are you watching Die Hard?" And we watched the second plane hit.
Oh, wow.
And so it's important. Like, and I've told that story on a ton of different mediums and podcasts, stuff like that, because I think it's important people know and hear that, because I thought in my lifetime I would never have a "where were you when?" moment. Like my parents have half a dozen of those at this point, and I'm sure your guys do too. And I didn't ever think we would have that. I think what was good though is then years later, I think it was 2016, my family and I took a trip back to the East Coast where I'm from, and my grandfather's tombstone at Arlington is just 50 yards away from the 9/11 memorial at Arlington. So I walked the kids over there. We saw that. We went to the Smithsonian, and we saw remnants from the two towers from the Pentagon. They see the scar on the Pentagon. Because like if you ever drive by that in Pentagon City, you see where the building, like the brick is different. And so it's important that I think young people or anybody sees those things in person, because then you recognize that, like, okay, again, whether you agree with the reasons or not, like this is a legit thing that happened. You go to Ground Zero in New York and you feel like you step across a certain line on the sidewalk and you step into a different world. The energy, everything is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a sorrow there. There's a pain there.
100%. Like the vibration is different. Like we went last year, actually, the day before the 20th anniversary. And so one, you have all the extra security because of that. And also because 46 was going to be there speaking on the anniversary. And so we were at the North Tower and seeing the fountain. It's a beautiful memorial. It really, really is. And as soon as you walk up to it, again, you feel that sorrow, you feel that impact, and you understand the kind of what's happening. What was really like moving though, was going to the South Tower. There was now a police funeral procession walking by. So you've got the bagpipes going. Oh yeah, like all the waterworks are going. Like,
dude, I would have rolled my eyes out.
Yeah, and my buddy's a 35-year law enforcement vet, so he just loses it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was tough, but it's important that people see those things, because you understand, like, those that have served and those that are part of our military, they fight to protect against those things happening again.
Mm-hmm. No, it's Kyle. Sorry, were you gonna say something?
I wasn't. No, go ahead, bud.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I just don't want us to ever lose our identity that we have here in this country. And I'm never going to say anything's perfect, because nothing is perfect, but this is as perfect as you'll find it anywhere. This is as free as you'll find it anywhere. And I challenge everybody to go, like, actually talk to people from other parts of the world, the why behind they came here, to escape what they did. And, and it's always, there's always a cost for this though, and it just because we, 99% of our time, we're not thinking about anything, but there's other parts of the world that are getting fucking mortared right now, and it's like, we have a false, I don't want to call it a false sense of security, but we have, like, we're kind of immune to it because it's never really happened in our backyard outside of that. But like, there's a reason for that. And that's why we have to be behind the stuff that we are for our defense, and that's just the way that I view it. And it's like, and when it comes down to, like, especially when it comes down to, like, my taxes and stuff, like, man, that's a small price to fucking pay for the freedom that we get. Granted, I don't like the amount, but as long as I knew it was all going to, like, keep us safe, I could justify that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you think of, taxes are the annual subscription to the country you live in. And there is no other country on earth where you get more value for your dollar than right here in America. And I mean, it's not even a contest. But freedom comes with adversity and difficulty. It's hard to succeed in America. You have to be a very aggressive, very competitive business person, but there's no limit on how high you can go. And this is the only country in the world where that's true. Yeah.
Big facts. Big facts.
It's very true. Robert, you had an interesting comment yesterday on yesterday's live show about the correlation between, now, like, obviously I try not to use blanket statements, but there is a large military presence within the blue collar industries as a whole, especially inside of trucking. Like, just to put it into context, like, my dad literally was in the Army, and then he got into driving instantly after coming back, because he drove in the military, and then he came back and started driving and was a trucker there. And I mean, the amount of people that I know in this industry that are veterans, and it's widespread too. It's not just drivers. Like, we're talking every position in this industry. Every company out there has a solid military presence in it. Why is that? Why do so many people gravitate into it?
For the military, I think part of it is the individualistic nature of being a professional driver. I mean, you have the ability to make your own way. You don't necessarily have to do a ton of interaction with folks, which some people get very used to. And it's very, like, as a professional driver, that is very much the pull yourself up by the bootstraps, which, that has a certain connotation with it now as some people look at differences between race and all that. But ultimately, like, when you're a trucker, you can write your own check. That said, the comment I made yesterday, and I think that's kind of what you want me to touch on, is that we have to change the mindset of like that these are somehow unskilled workers. You know, I mean, Kyle, you saw it in the military, and you got plenty of grunts that are out there, right? And and these are supposed to be the quote unquote dumb guys. I mean, these are people that are highly trained, highly skilled in a variety of different things. Honestly, are going to be some of the best team players you ever find, and we have to value that skill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something. It's not, generally speaking, it's not because they didn't go to a more traditional educational route, and so they didn't sit in the classroom. And to be honest, you talk about paying your subscription. They didn't pay the $100,000 for that really expensive bar tab they hang on their wall. These other guys, call it what it is, right?
I'm not arguing. It's funny to hear it in
like
that context. Yeah.
That my sister jokes about that. She won her GI Bill. She did the ROTC program at Virginia Tech. Talk about tragedy. She was there on the day the gunman was there at Virginia Tech. She was in the building. And Kathleen always talks about that she would have had a $100,000 bar tab had it not been for the military. And that's all college is for most people. Not so you don't get skills, but we need to view those very, very similarly, because you have people that can bring value to your organization. And just because you didn't go to the Ohio State, you went to the sandbox in Afghanistan, doesn't mean either one is less valuable.
No, not at all. I mean, and when you're in the service, you pay tuition in a different way.
100%.
But the stereotype of grunts, being mindless, it's very stupid. I mean, if you look at someone who has the emotional fortitude and the maturity to get through something like Marine boot camp and MCT and Marine infantry school, that is not a dumb guy. That is a mature professional adult.
Can confirm.
Absolutely. 100%. There might be some dumb people in our military statistically, probably because there's
dumb people
in it, but
statistically,
but let's be real. Do you measure a fish by do you measure its intelligence by its ability to climb a tree?
Yeah, exactly. Einstein said that, right? If you
exactly.
fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will go its whole life believing that it's stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is very important. So I can use an example of this. I had a driver that used to work for me, and very much like your dad, Chris, this guy, he would tell people, I have two skills. I can drive truck and I can kill people. That's what he would, literally, he had it listed on his resume. He'd been driving for 40 years. And here's the thing, when you get a guy behind a wheel, he's a magician. It's a symphony. It's beautiful to watch. Smooth turns. And when he would ask for a raise, I would have no problem. Here, $1. And he worked hourly. I had no problem doing that because there was incredible value there. I remember being challenged on that. And I'm like, you show me somebody else with that skill set.
Yeah.
Because so much of that comes from the time he's had behind the windshield. And like, well, he's, he barely graduated high school if he even did. I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Because his education came on the road.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Because it's like, in all reality, the entire point of all of the content that I'm putting out there is it's transportation focused, but long-term vision for all of this, man, is it's like being the platform for the blue collar guys and girls of this world. Because, like, I am from a blue collar family. Like, man, I did more manual labor from the age of 5 to fucking 30 than most people will do in their entire life. And like, and I'm not sitting here as a humble brag or anything like that, but like, I appreciate what those people, the drivers, the hardworking men and women of those roles go through, because I've been there. And the fact of the matter is it's like, I hate the term unskilled labor. It's like, that's not just a garbage man. You know what I mean? Like, that's somebody out there who's literally fucking taking care of
these
so
people got
much.
CDLs. There's a requisite strength level they have to have. They have to understand their routes and logistics. Like, these are smart people.
To me, it's
garbage,
for our country as a whole. For our country as a whole, for us to move forward, we have to appreciate what others do for us in their roles and their chosen professions for us to move forward as a country. We have to get, because like, if we were talking about like, the way things were when we were kids, man, I remember that. That's like, people had a ton of respect for other people's jobs and what they did for the communities that they were involved in, Yeah.
Well, you pose the question. Okay. If you look down on this particular occupation or this career field, picture a day in your life if they all just stop working. If they stop coming by to pick up your trash. By the way, the sanitation workers here in Reno, they work for a company called Waste Management. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but they make more money than any barista with a philosophy degree ever will. These guys own houses on the same block as me, and I'm the same.
They're getting paid.
Okay. So I mean, that stereotype should be put to bed. Absolutely.
Dude, absolutely. I know, like one of my buddies is a diesel mechanic. He's one of my best friends. He's been a diesel mechanic since we were 20 years old. We went tech school route and everything. He went to get his degree in to become a diesel mechanic. I went and got my business and management degree from the same tech school. And he got out. He started making $55,000 a year in rural Wisconsin. Some of you guys are like, "Oh, that's nothing." I'm like, in rural fucking Wisconsin,
You're fucking royalty.
dude, royalty. You got the brand new fucking pickup, and you got a nice little couple acres and everything out there. And like now,
beer fridge is always stocked,
dude. Absolutely. And now there's like there's companies out there, like from a technician standpoint. I know Cox Automotive because I was just out at their technician conference or their showcase in Indianapolis earlier this year. They literally pay for you to come to one of their campuses. They put you up, they feed you, they house you. You go through and you come out of that debt free, and you're going to be making some nice coin in a lot of parts of this country, you know? And it's like, you don't need a fucking, okay, yes, college is for a few things, but if you're out there, you need real world experience. All right. And especially it's like getting out there, like, yeah, go to the trade schools. If you're right now, if I was 17 years old, become a plumber. All right. Become a plumber, an electrician, fucking any of those guys will be making millions. And I quote, millions of fucking dollars a year here soon, because there is such a shortage of skilled labor. Same with truck drivers. I'm not saying there's a driver shortage. That is skilled labor driving a truck. All right. Because same thing. I'm going to use my dad as an example. I don't talk about this very often. All right. But my dad drove to New York City every week for fucking 30 years. All right. He used to deliver downtown Bronx in a 53-foot fucking semi. Most of you motherfuckers wouldn't drive your car in downtown New York City, let alone a 53-foot fucking truck, and have to back into the seafood district every fucking week, rush hour traffic, and back it in and get it in and in there, unload the motherfucker and get out of there.
While the mob is trying to hit you.
I'm not going to confirm
he's driving to the freaking Bronx with a couple $100,000 worth of lobster. No,
but
thanks.
That's the thing. And it's like any single one of us who's ever been stuck in traffic before. All right. How fucking stressed are you in your car?
Oh,
imagine
the world in traffic, man. I'm
exactly. Imagine being behind the wheel of an 80,000 pound fucking machine. You know, we got to bring the respect and
also knowing you have a shot clock on you.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly it. And the same thing goes to the warehouse workers who are out there loading trucks day in and day. I've loaded trucks for 4 years. It's not fucking the easiest job on the face of this earth. All right. A lot of those, like, I can barely add. When I joke, you guys, like, I went to public school, like, I'm being fucking half serious. Like, math is not my forte. I know commissions though. I know percentages and margins, but loading trucks though, man, like some of those things, like you think like, oh, everything's a perfect pallet. Those guys are playing jigsaw puzzles to load those fucking trucks up. You know, again, to Kyle's point, where would we be if those hardworking men and women stopped for one day? Where would we be?
Well, look at pictures of a North Korean grocery store. That's where we would be.
A what?
A North Korean grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they even have them over there?
They do. They're just for show mostly. But
yeah, exactly. For fucking propaganda. But no, it's true. It's like, to me, I think our best foot forward is going to be bringing it back down to appreciate thy neighbor. Doesn't matter your background, where you came from, what you are as a person. It's what you do for the community and you're the contributing thing, because like, dude, that's like, to me, like, that's what America is all about. It's about the individual communities that are out there and working together and, like block parties and stuff. Like, Robert, you were telling me, like, when we were in Chicago about a month ago, you were like, yeah, man, it's really fucking cool over the summer. Like, we shut it all down. Everybody's got their kids out there.
You saw like where the lights are hung between two trees.
Yeah. Like, dude,
are all year round.
That's the way it was. And I just want to see us get back to there. So bad.
I'll tell you, Chris, I know we're actually going to be coming up on time here pretty soon. Cool story about that. This is
my I want. Sorry.
we say this on our block is you don't fuck with 2nd Avenue. So over Halloween, that's when kids like to do stuff, right? Kids were stealing stuff off of my lawn. Well, my neighbors caught them and like ran them off when I was trying to get outside. These kids would come and like knock on my door. They were trying to pull my inflatable drag, and my neighbors stopped them, called the cops, and got these kids pulled over.
Nice.
That's the type of neighborhood that we should be trying to promote and trying to talk about, you know, how you take care of your neighbors and how you know, build community. That's what it is. These people don't even know my name. They just know I'm the big guy with the beard and the cute dog.
I love it.
That's great. You remember when you didn't know or care who your neighbors voted for?
Yeah.
I kind of miss that. I miss that. You know, I don't know what has happened where your political view is now somehow your entire identity. But
yeah,
regardless of how anyone feels about politics, I wish everyone would just stop doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, you know, who's going to put our country first as a whole? You know, it doesn't matter what your idealistic, like, to me, it's
they all
like,
hate us.
Yeah. That's
what was that?
They all hate us.
Yeah.
I can't argue. I can't argue with that at all. You know, it's just one of those situations where it's like, you know, again, it's like, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, as long as you're for us advancing as a country and being America first. I don't care, in my opinion. As long 100%. As you're best suited for us and you have our country's best interests in mind, I'm all about that, you know, because it's like, that's what, in my opinion, that's what everybody's fighting for, right? They're fighting to preserve it. We can't have anybody in there actively looking to blow it up, you know, and diminish it.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, all of history's greatest atrocities were committed with the best intentions, right? So
yeah,
it's not that our issue currently is not philosophy, it's competence. So, you know,
never a truer statement.
Yeah. The U.S. has the largest, most dynamic, most complicated economy that has ever existed. And to think that there are one-size-fits-all blanket policy fixes for shortcomings and ebbs and flows in these giant markets is folly. It's nonsense. You know, we need a lot more economists and a lot more finance people at the upper echelons of government, and fewer of these showy community builders, whatever the hell that even means. You know,
yeah, we need like actual businessmen and women to go in and run it like a business, because that's really what it boils down to. You know, that's what we need more.
Well, and sadly, the most qualified people there would be are retired senior flag officers, 4-star officers, 3-star officers who have been in charge of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. But they all know better than to get into damn elective politics. They don't.
See, but like, again, that's to me, like, that's the problem, because I hear that a lot from very successful people. They're like, this is what we should do, but I don't want to do it because I don't want to put people through it. It's like, I think, like, again, we're a ground up country. You know what I mean? Like, it's from the grassroots style stuff. And it's like, it's got to change from us at the ground level. And we need to hold those people accountable. And again, I'm not going to get into the whole voting thing, but vote their asses out. You know, we still control that.
You should watch your mouth, Chris. Work on your content. Yeah,
I'll work on that. I appreciate the honest feedback. And you know what the beauty about America is if you don't like it, you can change the fucking channel. It is what it is. And, you know, I'm just out here, you know, we didn't get to any articles today, you guys, but at the end of the day, I'm glad that this is the way that this conversation went. You know, I really am, because we don't appreciate our veteran community enough, but we don't appreciate our communities enough either. And I think that if we, as what we talk about, if we want change, we have to be the change, you know, and that's what I'm committed to on all of my platforms that I'm building and the companies that I'm a part of, is being the change to move us back to the way things, a better version of the way things were, you know, because that's the beauty of it. We can make it better.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Kyle, Strongman, I appreciate you guys joining me today. I'm going to be, Freight Coach is going on the road next week. I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. on Monday and Tuesday for the NMFTA conference. I'm going to be doing a live show from there. Then I'm going to be in the Big D, a.k.a. Dallas, Texas, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I'll be back home Friday night. So Freight Coach on the road. If you see the Blaze Orange in the backwards hat, you know what to do. That's it for today, you guys. The Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation. We will be back on Monday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you